guys, how are you doing? It's your girl Rasati out here in Singapore, back on here with the Night Owl podcast. And I'm actually, I feel good this morning. It started off with a really great conversation with somebody, and as difficult as it was, because it was about some really deep, heavy things, I felt good because it was just what I needed to hear as well. I needed to understand that sometimes when I coach people, the medicine that comes out of me to administer to them, like the guidance, the healing advice or whatever, is exactly what I need for myself as well. I just needed to be in a place where I had to say it out loud so I could hear it for myself as well. So it's one of those situations where I got in touch with one of my friends, and they were letting me know that they were having a tough time. They were having a tough time with the people in their lives, and for some reason, even though they were in counseling, it seemed like they did all the work, but the other person didn't seem as driven to work on themselves. And that happens a lot. It happens even in my practice. A lot of times I have one part of the couple will come to me looking for advice, looking for guidance, looking for a way out of all the bickering that they seem to be going through. And what will happen is I'll give them an assignment, something to work on, and they will come back happily doing the assignment. But what they really need is the other half of that conversation. They need to know what their partner would feel about that same assignment. Sometimes I can get them to get their partner to do it as well, and sometimes I can't. Now, in one case, specifically, I had them get their partner to think about some of these things, and it didn't work out so well, but they had the foresight enough to let the partner know that the partner needed to approach me on their own accord. So I had person A come talk to me first. We worked on some things, and then they tried to relate to person B. It didn't work out so well, so person B came to talk to me, and then eventually person A and B sat down with me on a Skype call, and we discussed so they could see where they were having trouble. Sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. It's just the way it is, right? You're so used to seeing things a certain way. You've got your own habits. You know the person so well that their triggers, you know what they are, and you push their buttons when you need to, and your triggers, they know what they are, and they push their buttons when they need to as well. But that also means it's a circle of bickering. You're just going to go round and round in circles until somebody gets tired, and then you're going to retreat to your corners. And then when you see each other again, you just pick up where you left off, which is painful, and it's just tiring. And who wants that, right? Oh my God, it'd be so much easier. We just broke up. But that's not the goal here. When I get you sitting in front of me, talking to me, the point is for you to understand the other person. Now, if you, at some point through the process of understanding the other person, realize that you're not really a good match, then so be it. But the best thing I can do for you is to teach you how to communicate, at least, so you can at least talk about those things and discover them for yourselves. I'm not here to say, nope, y'all should break up. I'm not here to say, nope, she's not good enough for you. I'm here to say, she's in pain and so are you. Let's talk about this. Let's figure out how you guys can talk about it without my help at some point. In that same regard, I want to talk about that one situation where one partner is doing the work, the other partner could care less because they've already made up their mind. But you really want to do your best. You really want to try. And sometimes if you can find the things that you need to change about yourself and you do change them, sometimes it does help influence the other person. And sometimes they don't notice regardless because they're too busy feeling and can't think anymore. And I get that. I know that. So here's what I'm going to tell you. In the situations where you found things that help you, find things that help you understand the other person, understand what you're going through so you can maybe see more about the other person, understand them, as in like, let me give you a specific example because this is really vague, right? You're going to get me mad at me. With me and my mother, there have been so many times where we argue, we bicker. Why? Because we know each other really well. So I know when I've triggered my mom, she's going to start gritting her teeth. I can see that bulge in the side of her cheek, and I know she's mad at me. So guess what? My defense kind of comes up, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're going to be mad at me? Watch this. And sometimes it gets to a point where I've pushed her. She go walk out the room and slam the door behind her. And when she slams the door, I'm triggered some more. And I'm like, what? No, you did not walk away from me. Yes, I am the daughter. I should know better. But nope, I'm going to go after her. I'm going to perpetuate this cycle a little bit. And it wasn't until I realized the pattern that I started noticing more about her. I started understanding a little bit more about her. But for that to happen, I had to stop feeling. I had to start thinking instead. So here's what I mean by understanding the other person. In any given dynamic, friendship, relationship, whatever, the other person is constantly telling you what they need. They will ask for things. And maybe not in so many words where, when I feel this, I need you to do this. They're not going to say it like that ever. Please, it would be too easy, right? What they will do instead is, if they're upset, they have a certain way of showing it. Sometimes it's to throw a temper tantrum. Sometimes it's to start crying and just feeling depressed and low, stuff like that. Sometimes it's to pick a fight with somebody that has nothing to do with anything they're upset about, but only because they can. Because they can't show their pain to the person that it's really stemming from. Or maybe it's a situation that's out of their control. This situation that I'm going to tell you about with my mom is about money. Money for my mom was freedom. When she was growing up and taking care of us, when she had her own job, as in outside of any of the businesses my dad had, right? And her own job where she punched a clock and she went to work, and somebody else outside of our family was paying her because it was not a family business, she felt good about herself. She had a really great self-esteem. She felt like she was accomplished. She felt like, she was putting her education to good use. She was useful in the world. And that also meant it came with a lot of autonomy because that's her money. She made that money. Nobody can tell her what to do with that money. So she could buy things for herself if she wanted to. She could buy things for her kids if she wanted to. She could save it if she wanted to. She felt good about that. That was how she built her identity, right? Because she's been in a situation before where she didn't have the autonomy to get her own job, and she had, a stipend given to her, if that, or she had to ask for help or ask for someone to give her money, mostly my dad, because he was the one working, she wasn't, and it gave her this sense of, now I'm obligated to do certain things with the money. It's not mine. I don't have any free will over this. I am controlled. So when my mom came to stay with me for a while, I did not realize this. But I was on a limited income and I didn't want her to work. It was the best of intentions, I swear to God. I didn't want her to have to work because she's worked so hard to take care of me, and I wanted her to relax and enjoy her retirement a little bit, just chill at home. And I will buy the groceries, I will cook for you, I'll keep the house clean. We can just spend time together. I wanted to heal our relationship because we've been at odds for many years and in different countries for many years, and the communication wasn't that great. So when I got to a point where I was struggling a little bit with the money, but I was finding ways to treat her wherever I could spare like $4 or $5. I'd buy something she really loves, like water chestnuts or, any of those things, roasted chestnuts, or durian ice cream. I don't like durian, but I'll buy it for her. It's fine. You eat it, you stay over there, brush your teeth, and then I'll talk to you. But yeah, it was like that. I would do what I could to treat her, but she still felt like her hands were tied. She really couldn't do what she wanted to do. She really did not like that feeling, and she was getting antsy, and I didn't realize it. I couldn't see. It was right under my face, and I couldn't see it. But it wasn't until we had a knockdown, drag-out fight and said some things we probably shouldn't have said that the true feelings spilled out. And she finally admitted to me that this is how she felt. And I was like, shit, I didn't realize that. I'm so sorry. I wasn't trying to hurt you. I wasn't trying to, keep you stuck or anything. But I wanted to treat you, and it didn't turn out well because I'm not making money like I used to make. I'm doing something for myself. I'm venturing out into an unknown world. But it wasn't until I understood her telltale signs and then asked some questions and said some bad things that it finally came out, and I suddenly realized what the reason behind some of her behaviors was. And once I understood that, I could tell when she got antsy before it became a knockdown, drag-out fight, and I could prevent some really bad conversations from ever taking place. But you see, she's been telling me all along, I just wasn't looking at the signs. I wasn't noticing. Why? Because I was too busy feeling and not doing enough thinking. I wasn't able to focus on what was going on with her. But once I understood, I looked out for it more often. I found more and more ways for her to be able to exercise her ability to be independent, so she would feel better about herself as well. I tried to find different ways to include her in our lives because without having money, she felt like she was a burden on me. And she felt like she was, adding to my stresses instead of taking away from it. And I don't want anyone to ever feel that way. If I invite you into my home, it's because I want you there. So you see, people will tell you along the way, in their behaviors. Not so much in their words, because words come out really painful sometimes, but they'll tell you in their behaviors. You know what they react to. You know they get upset about. And for the most part, they might be level-headed people. But under certain circumstances, the devil comes out in all of us. It's just the way it is. But for a couple to heal, for a relationship to get better, for communication to fix itself, it takes at least one party who's interested to notice the signs and understand what the other person wants. Now, there's something I teach that is crucial to my practice. I teach the 5 love languages, but I also teach the 6 human needs. And once you understand what that is for yourself, it's easy to figure it out for other people. And you see it. And you understand why they are the way that they are, what drives them. How come, 5 people born in the same house with the same parents can be 5 different characters? And once you understand that, it becomes less about being upset because they said these things and more about, oh my gosh, they're in pain. And I suddenly understand why they're in pain. How can I remedy this? People will give you telltale signs about what they need. They may not have the language to tell you what they need. They may not know what they need, but they know it doesn't feel good and they're fighting it because this is not the way they envisioned their life. This is not what their belief system told them the world should look like. Or maybe it's pain. Maybe it's pain driven. It's about fear. I don't want to feel that pain ever again, so I'm going to block all of these things. Anything that looks remotely like that, I'm going to start bucking against. I'm going to start fighting like belligerently against. So if you pay attention to the people you love, if you pay attention to your friends, your coworkers, your colleagues, you will notice certain tendencies. Some people need to know exactly what's going to go on. They need to know, like, they need their day scheduled. They feel better when they know exactly what's going to happen, how long it's going to take, what time, where, what, all that. They would feel so much better. And for some people, they don't want everything planned out. Like, oh my God, the monotony. Can we have some variety in this life? Like, can I have some kind of surprise? Can I feel like, things could change at any given moment? They want that excitement. And for some people, they really need the human connection, but because maybe they didn't get it as much as a child, and they really want to know that they matter and that you see them, and that, you can have a really good conversation and experience like the same emotions sometimes, and they understand where you're coming from. They need that connection. And for some people, they need to feel important because maybe they've been bullied a lot in their life, and maybe they were, forgotten or left behind. Abandonment issues tend to be people who really need to feel important somehow or connected somehow. Those two things come up a lot. But once you understand those 4 basic human needs, the other two are easy. The need to grow, to be able to expand your horizons, to learn more, to become more than you were when you first came to this particular place. And the need to contribute, to give back to the community somehow. Those needs are more spiritual needs, but they come after you've mastered the first 4. Once you understand those, you understand why your big sister maybe needs to steal the spotlight all the time. Maybe you understand why your youngest brother feels the need to schedule everything because he was never sure what would happen because life was chaotic growing up. It could be any of those things, but you suddenly understand, and that compassion will help you understand how you need to respond to them instead of react. So if you pay attention, your spouse, your child, your parent, your friends will tell you exactly what they need. Even if they're not willing to do the lists with you, if they're not willing to do this homework assignment, the journaling or whatever, you can figure it out. If you do the work properly for yourself, you'll see it in other people. You will see extensions of yourself in everyone around you, and you will understand better. So if nothing else from this podcast, I'm hoping you go back and you research what the 5 love languages are and you research what the 6 human needs are. Those are my 2 favorite tools because you solve a lot of things using those 2. And no, I didn't come up with them. I didn't make this stuff up. It's tried and true. It's from someone else, but I like it because it's effective and it makes things simple. If you can define something, it becomes easier to understand sometimes. It's not so vague and abstract. You don't have to search and think you got it, but maybe you don't got it. You understand. I'm hoping this helped you guys. If you have any more questions, please hit me up. I'm in the process of actually creating PDF downloads and a couple of online classes so I can actually share this knowledge a little bit more in depth. And if you're interested to have the class one-on-one instead, hit me up, DM me, let's talk. But until then, I love you guys. Take care. Take care of each other. And I'll talk to you again soon.